A storybook three-pointer.
It was the highlight of their season. The fans stormed the court. The players celebrated like they just won the state championship.
I never thought I'd see it out of Mike Phelps.
Not exactly the type of scene you'd expect after a 12-point loss.
To make the final score 60-48.
You get caught up in wins and losses a whole lot as a coach and as a community. And when something like this happens, it just changes a whole lot of your perspective.
And what happened revolves around Richard Nagelkirk. Richard never figured to be a star. He wasn't blessed with the physical skills to make him one. But his passion for sports runs deep. So for 4 years, he worked as a student manager, serving the athletes that made the headlines at Holland Christian.
Go! Go two! Go!
Anything to be a part of the team.
He's got a servant's heart and a servant's spirit. So whatever he can do to help, to be involved, he'll just go out there and do it.
He's helped with the girls' basketball program. He helps with the baseball team. He's going to time soccer tomorrow night. It's just his life.
A life that changed dramatically on a Saturday night in February. Like every game night, Richard was there for his team, doing the duties managers do. Only this time, at the request of his coach, Mike Phelps, he wore sweats instead of the standard shirt and tie. And underneath the sweats, for the first time in his life, he donned a Holland Christian uniform.
We had a discussion Friday before the game even, and he said if we're down by 10 or up by 10, he'd put me in the game. There's a minute left in the game.
We'd always hoped there would be a special highlight for Richard. We just didn't know what it was going to be.
True to his word, Phelps called Richard from the end of the bench, a reward for 4 loyal years of service. And as the sellout crowd at Holland Civic Center picked up on what was happening, the mood began to change.
It will no longer be quiet when the fans realize what the coach has done.
Suddenly, nobody cared that the Maroons trailed by 15 points.
Before I went in, he told me to get open so he'd pass me the ball.
And I talked with the other 4 kids that I was going to put in, and I just said, okay, look, we're going to try to get him a shot, set some picks, get some movement, and just do the best you can. And, you know, there were a couple kids on the bench that they hadn't played a lot either, and hadn't got into many games, but they did their best to get him open and give him shots.
I think that if they pass me, I'm going to shoot it out.
Hands it to Nagelkirk. Nagelkirk, a couple of dribbles, gets it to Doctor.
When he touched it the first time, I thought, great, he got a chance to touch the basketball. I was thrilled that that happened.
Hilton cross court for Nagelkirk. He'll fire it up, no good.
Then he got to touch it again. He actually got a shot off that partially blocked, and I was just so happy for that.
If the game would have stopped here, Holland Christian fans would have gone home happy. The smile on Richard's face took the sting out of the loss. But there was still time on the clock. Time for Richard to get off one more shot. Time for a miracle.
Picked off by Josh Walters. Country Day turnover number 15 with 9 seconds left. Walters into the front court with the right-hand dribble. Into the corner, Nagelkirk. He'll fire it up for 3. And Nagelkirk makes the 3!
I just couldn't contain myself.
Dennis Nagelkirk was shooting his son's every move from the stands, using a camera he borrowed from a friend. When Richard's shot hit nothing but net, he did the same thing everybody else did.
I went nuts, and then I realized, like, oh man, I got to get the camera back on this, and I just had the tears just streaming down my face.
He wasn't the only one. As Richard's teammates carried him off the court on their shoulders, his mother dried her eyes just enough to get this unforgettable snapshot. His shining moment, frozen in time.
And the way they picked him up, it all made sense to me. The stories he told and about how nice the guys were, and it was so honest. And it just came from a gut reaction, and you could tell they were just all so happy for him.
It was really indescribable that as a parent to see your child enjoy that moment and be a part of that, where for so many years he had never had an opportunity like that to be, you know, on a team like that, or be on the basketball court, or be the star, or anything like that. it was just extremely special for us.
While the Nagelkirks have enjoyed their son's 15 minutes of fame, they have embraced what has followed. As word of the shot spread, the videotape became a hot item. Dennis estimates he's made between 20 and 25 copies, most going to local churches. Pastor Paul Hantz used it in a recent sermon at Central Wesleyan Church.
It shows what can happen when a person gets involved in the game of life and just goes for it, whether they think they've got the gifts, the skills, or the abilities or not.
It has really gone places we didn't expect it to go, and people have been able to use it to touch other people and to show how God still works miracles.
This is one miracle they'll talk about long after the seats have emptied. The echoes of this shot will be heard for years to come.
Richard Nagelkirk, the team manager, gets a storybook three-pointer.
The lessons will live a lifetime.
Some loss. That was the greatest loss they've ever experienced.
Obviously, God had a big hand in this because this just didn't happen by itself.
We didn't know what God's plan was and where He was going to take this. We were just so glad it worked for Richard.